He's been the voice of Trousdale County athletics for more than 3 decades now. Recently, I caught up with Hartsville's Jerry Cheese Richmond, who knows a thing or two about championship football teams and championship play-by-play radio broadcasts as well.
Actually started with sports broadcasting. Back in the mid-'70s, my cousin Tony Majors was one of the football coaches here. He told me one summer that they needed somebody to call in the games to the Tennessean after the games. And he said, look, they'll even let you in free, they'll even pay you. So that was my start. And actually what I did, I went to the football games, and at that time there were only 3 booths in the press box. I sat down in the booth with Johnny Hawkins, who was there to do the radio broadcast of Trousdale County football. He was in there by himself. I started helping him, doing some spotting, started doing some talking. That's how I got my start in sports broadcasting and thereby into radio.
And so once you got the bug, I guess you could say, I mean, it was pretty fun for you, I'm sure. When did you become the full-time play-by-play man for Trousdale County?
Well, I've just completed 34 years of Trousdale County football as play-by-play. It's been a great ride. I've done 419 play-by-play broadcasts and have had the opportunity to do 8 state championships. Trousdale County won all of those games in 90, 93, 97, 98, 05, 08, and 13. So I enjoy the sports, and being able to broadcast that product of Trousdale County football has been pretty good. Lady Jackets went to Good Pasture last night and won 34-28. First time that Trousdale County has ever beaten Good Pasture in a basketball game.
What is the biggest challenge that you face as you get older when you do these games?
Just being ready. You've got to know the players, and sometimes, especially at football games, the facilities are not too good, and sometimes you have trouble seeing the action and reading the numbers. So just being prepared and knowing what's going on.
But of course, football isn't the only sport that you do play-by-play for. You also do basketball. Talk about how long you've been doing basketball and what you like about doing basketball games.
Well, when I grew up, I was a basketball guy. I played more basketball than football. And basketball is a different challenge because you have to memorize names as the ball is passed from Smith to Jones to so-and-so. And then you learn the girls' names, and then they run off, and then here come the boys. You got the challenge for that. So it's a quicker game with more names to remember. When I get ready for a football game, I can pretty much learn that Smith is the quarterback, and Jones is the ball carrier, and Jackson is the wide receiver. So basketball can be a little more of a challenge.
Your nickname is Cheese for some strange reason, or maybe not a strange reason, but how did you get that nickname?
When I was growing up, we were Richmond service station over on the highway. Beside it was a grocery store. When I was young, and still today, I ate a lot of cheese. And we would go to the grocery store, and Lakeshire cheese came in a 5-pound box. You would have to go back to the meat department and ask them to slice cheese for us. So a couple of the guys in the meat department started calling me Cheese.
And it stuck.
It did. And that's great, really, because a lot of people may not remember Jerry, but they'll remember Cheese.
Not to get you to brag on yourself here, but are you a pretty big deal here in Hartsville? I mean, I'm sure most everybody here knows you from doing football broadcasts, if nothing else, right?
Well, I don't know if big deal is the word, but yes, I've been on the radio for obviously a number of years. I also write sports for the Vidette, Hartsville Vidette. And I grew up in town. Like I said, we worked at the service station, so I guess I've been visible to a lot of people for a number of years.
What have you enjoyed, some of the main things that you've enjoyed about this career, would you say? Because we're obviously standing in the studio of the radio station here. Do you enjoy this as much as the play-by-play end of things as well, or is it just all fun in general?
I enjoy the radio. I enjoy the music. And I've always been a guy that's been involved in the community. So when I'm here at the microphone, I'm promoting things going on in the community, whether they're sporting events or the Rotary Club doing something or the Chamber of Commerce doing something. So I enjoy that. But again, the sports broadcasting is the passion. And I can go back to some years ago, and since we started doing a live broadcast in 2003, people have been able to listen to us online. And I can remember a few years ago there was a family that lived in Michigan that had a grandson on the team. And they would occasionally make the games, but many times they couldn't. And I was able to bring their grandson's football game into their house. And he told me more than once, "Thank you for what you do." So that's as good as it gets for me.
Of course, that's a wonderful story, but you have called, you said, 8 state championship games with Trousdale County winning all of them. Any of those teams, maybe was there like one of those 8 that maybe stands out in your mind as maybe possibly being the best?
Well, I don't, there, that can be debated which team was the best. I think the 90 state championship game that we won against Brewston, Brewston was the defending state champs, had the longest winning streak in the state, and we went down to Vanderbilt and won that game. That was a super sweet game.
Of course, that Brewston game wasn't the only championship game that you remember vividly either, is it?
We'll give you a couple. Back in 2001, we played at Portland, and we played over there the Friday after 9/11 and got beat 52-12. We had to go back over there in a quarterfinal game, and we got behind 14-0, and it didn't look good for us. And our guys stood up and came back and won that football game. Portland, a school 2.5 times our size, they were the defending 3A state champs, had won 27 games in a row, 41 out of 42. So that win at Portland was a special one. And I'll take you back about 3 years ago when Trousdale County played a regular season game at home against Gallatin Greenway, and got behind in that game and finally took the lead late in it and blocked an extra point to win, and a win over Gallatin, a 5A school. That was pretty sweet too. And those games too can be heard live here on WTNK.
How long do you see yourself doing this, Jerry?
I think as long as I enjoy it and have the health to do it. So I hope that will be a few more years. I hope to do another state championship.
One thing is for sure, if the Yellow Jackets are fortunate enough to play in another state title game anytime soon, they have the perfect play-by-play voice to describe all the action. Reporting in Hartsville, Barry Hyatt, NCTV.